Hi everyone. Hope you're all staying safe and sane out there. This is a weird time that we've got going on here, but I find that one of the benefits of being cooped up indoors all day is that you get a little extra time to work on the old homestead. So yesterday I promised that I'd give you a quick tip on how to fix screw pops. So whether you're getting ready to list your house or you're just tired of looking at that ugly, pesky eyesore, this is a really simple tip anyone can do. So screw pops actually happen when the screw or the nail, if it's an older house, is inserted too far into the drywall upon install. So it actually rips the paper. So when the house settles or moves at all, it actually pops that drywall out a little more and it causes a blister. It's super easy to fix, but it can be a little daunting for someone who's never done it before. So let's take a look how to fix it. We're gonna get it done. It's gonna be super easy. Here we have a screw pop. It's actually the last one I have in my house. It's in a stairwell here. So I actually had a bunch and I wound up fixing them before I remembered I was actually going to do the video. So it's a little awkward, but we'll make it work. Down here you'll see my basement. It's a work in progress, but this is a judgment-free zone. So we're just going to get to work. One thing that you're going to do to start, you're going to either get yourself a putty knife or a utility knife, and we're just going to try and locate that screw or nail that's in there. So let's do that now. I'm going to use my my putty knife. So I'll just try and do this with one hand here. I actually got a couple nails in there by the looks of it. Alright, so once you have your blister opened up as we do here, you're either going to take, if you have a nail, you're going to use a punch and a hammer and just hammer it all the way through until you hit the stud. If you have a screw, then just take a screwdriver or a drill and make sure you get it all the way through to the stud. Now that we've got rid of the old screws or nails and they're no longer in the way, we're going to make sure that this drywall is still supported by throwing another screw in there. It should go without saying, but make sure you hit a stud if you're using a screw or a nail. What the screw will do when it hit a stud is it will suck in all the way a little past the paper of the drywall. So not enough to obviously to rip the drywall, because that's not what we want, but just enough so it's flush so you can mud. When you don't do that, so say you miss a stud, then your screw won't go all the way in, and it just spins like that. So that's an easy way to know if you missed a stud, because the screw won't go all the way in. So make sure you hit the stud. So one step before we get to mudding is you just want to make sure that this area is all cleaned up, so there's no little frays that are really going to get in the way here. When it's time to fill the hole that you just made, you got a couple options. You can use drywall compound if you have some handy. Most people do, or you can use quickset. So I'm going to use quickset. The only difference between that is it takes less time to dry. It can be a little stronger, so I don't need to do as many coats. So I'm going to do that, particularly because there were 2 nails in that, which was strange, but it left a bigger hole here. So that being said, I'm going to use quickset, but if you got drywall compound, just use drywall compound. It just means you'll have to do another coat, but that's okay. That's pretty much what you're looking at here. We're going to let it set up now, so depending on whether you used quickset or drywall compound, it's going to have various drying times. Also depends on the size of the hole that you need to patch there. So for quickset, I'd leave it for a number of hours. Again, this is a pretty big hole, so I'm going to leave that for a couple hours. Drywall compound, I'd leave it overnight just to make sure it cures up nicely. After that, you're going to put on a second coat, and you're just going to use drywall compound that time because it's going to sand way nicer and it's going to paint way nicer too. So you may need to do just one more if you use quickset. You may need to do a couple more, but drywall compound is going to be the way to go after that. Okay, once your compound has had a chance to set up a little bit and is nice and dry, you can hit it with some sandpaper. So I use or recommend using anything from a 120 to a 150 grit sandpaper. I happen to have 180. It just means it's going to take a little more work, but that's okay. You may see that there's a little bit of an indent here in the hole, particularly if it's quite sizable. That's normal. Once you put some drywall compound on there, it'll go right away. We're all sanded now. Let's just get some compound on this bad boy. Recommend about a 1/16 of an inch thick, and then just feather it out. So you'll see what I mean. Okay, here's what we have after the drywall compound has been put on. It's going to take about 24 hours for it to dry up, so don't rush it. You don't want to be trying to sand wet drywall compound. You're gonna ruin it, so just be patient with the wall and be patient with yourself. Once it is ready to sand, give it a good sand. Try and get it as flat as possible. If you do need to put another coat on, or even 2 coats, that's totally fine. Just be patient with it and be patient with yourself if you're new to this game. It's drywall compound is not the easiest thing to work with, and it takes a bit of practice. In the interest of shortening the video though, I do have some that have been done and that are painted. So I'm going to put those in, a picture of that in shortly, or a video of that in shortly, just so you can see a bit of a before and after. One thing, just while I wrap up here, I mentioned that this was my last screw pop of the house, and the funny thing about working on your house is when you get in such tight quarters of a certain area, you tend to notice things, and some things you notice that are good and some not so good. So about 2 feet away, I've got a number of screw pops here that I didn't notice before. So it's just one of those things that you get used to being a homeowner. So you take one thing a day at a time. Not everything has to be fixed right away. So just be patient. Thanks so much, guys, for hanging out with me today, keeping me company. I hope you, I don't know, learned something, or it helped at least. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Or if you want to show your before and afters, that'd be cool too. So thanks again. Take care. Stay safe out there.